How are you feeling, Chris, after the events of yesterday?
Yeah, you know what? I was very disappointed. I think you could have heard that yesterday in the broadcast. Went away, you reflect on it. There was a few things. Again, it was a very even game yesterday. We both have to say, I think, not taking chances.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm the best man to speak about missing big opportunities at Hampden. So, but on a serious note, it was the performance in itself. I think Alex hit the nail on the head when he talked about game intelligence. The Czech managed the game better.
They did.
You know, we started both halves better. Again, Steve Clarke, I think, with the personnel that he chose, there was a few in there. Che Adams, for me, had to start, but he came on straight away at half time, which again, he addressed that problem, started well. There was a few things, you know, again, reactive, not anticipating the goal. Again, both of the Czech goals came against the run of play.
Yeah.
But it's just about when you're on top, it's about managing the game, keeping that pressure on, putting them on the back foot, and too many times we allowed the Czech team to get out and do exactly that to us.
Well, Chris, that is the story of it in a nutshell. And the Daily Record this morning here in Glasgow has treated us to a 17-page pullout of yesterday, and of course a whole lot written about that goal, that second goal, the wonder goal from Schick. And Steve Clarke refuses to blame David Marshall. I've got the record here. Alex Crook was match commentator yesterday, and he will be back with us at Hampden later this week. Alex, I think that's about right. I mean, could Marshall have done anything about that? You probably never commentate on a more sensational goal than that.
No, it was an incredible introduction to the tournament, wasn't it, at Hampden Park? Fantastic piece of ingenuity for me from Schick, and I said on air yesterday, I think it was better than David Beckham's goal from the halfway line against Wimbledon that gets played time and again on television because Beckham had time. The ball was at his feet. He looked up. He spotted the goalkeeper off his line. This was instinctive from Schick, and I think he said to David Tanner afterwards that actually he spotted earlier in the game that David Marshall did come a long way off his line, but presumably that's under instruction from Steve Clarke. Everything now is micromanaged, so his positioning, I'm sure Steve Clarke would have been perfectly happy where he was. The interesting element for me from yesterday, Jim, is the Kieran Tierney situation, because David Tanner, who's with the camp in Middlesbrough, tells us Tierney trained today. Now, if he's okay to train today, why was he not okay to play last night? And this backs up some whispers that I'm hearing that basically Steve Clarke had a choice because he's got a minor 5 problem, Kieran Tierney. Should he play against the Czech Republic in the first game, or should they sit him out of that game and play against England? For me, if that is the case, they picked the wrong opponent, because the Czech Republic was the big game. That's the one they really needed to win. I'd have played him in that game and rested him on Friday.
Well, just off the back of that, you know, as a professional footballer in that environment, if there's a chance you could lose him if you risk him, but he's training today, and I've got to say I agree with you, and that's a gamble that you should have took. Kieran Tierney out there yesterday would have brought something different. You know, we definitely lost something down that left-hand side. But going back to the David Marshall, you know, Scotland were in good possession of the ball. Now, the comments that I'm hearing, he was advanced, communicating with Grant Hanley, whatever it may be, the instruction under Stephen Clarke. But we were in possession of the ball. If Jack Hanley just puts that ball out to O'Donnell on the right-hand side, he then just drops a little bit, there's no problem. But he's took a shot from about 25 yards. It could have went anywhere, throw-in, corner kick. It's actually put them on the attack, and it was absolute quality for Sheik to actually see Marshall off his line and take it on. He had addressed, I think in the David Tanner, he said that he'd clocked him a couple of times coming off a little bit high, and he took it on and executed it fantastically well.
It, didn't he?
But I've got to say, I think Tierney, if most players are not 100%, you know, they're always playing with niggles, they're always managing something, and if he's there training today, he would have been massive for the fans, the players, what he brings. You know, he goes out there, he leads by example, gets on the ball, he makes things happen. You know, I've got to say Andy Robertson had probably one of his better games yesterday because he had to kind of step up when Tierney wasn't there.
Sure.
There was chances. Now there was chances that we could have been out of sight. You know, I know it was an even game. They took their chances. If we came away 3-2, 4-2, there would be no arguments to get. I feel Crooks' eyes on me now. Look, if we came away winning that game because of the chances that we had, there would be no arguments.
Are we sounding as if we're making excuses, Mr. Jordan?
No, you're not really, because I don't agree with Alex's analysis, because I don't think the tournament turns on the first game. I think Scotland still have an innate ability to qualify. If they can get a result of some shape or description against England, joking to one side, it sets up the final game. Now, if he he plays against the Czech Republic and does some damage to himself and takes him out of the 2 games because of the result of that first game, then you're going to sit there and go, hang on a second, we've lost one of our best players for 2 games rather than the first game.
Oh,
I understand you start something on the front foot, but I don't agree with the evaluation that if there's a risk... Steve Clarke has got very little wrong in his tenure as Scotland manager, so I think it's a bit previous to start assessing a situation on the basis of a decision that he's made when he's made all of the decisions that have gotten to this stage probably in the right order, and ultimately he's abreast of more facts than we are. If you look at the fact that I tried my very level best to show little interest in Scotland yesterday, but I was dragged into it kicking and screaming reluctantly by somebody I know who's a jock that was sitting alongside me making me watch it, and I felt that they were unlucky. I really did think they were unlucky. There were chances a galore for them.
Yeah, stop patronising us.
I'm really not,
We're
Jimbo.
only minutes into the show.
I'll do all that on Friday evening as I fall off the floor, climb back on the floor, laughing at the end of your particular, independence route. You'll be independent soon of this tournament, absolutely, as a country. But the idea that you didn't... that your tournament is defined by the first game and your performance is wrong, because Scotland weren't that bad. They weren't clinical. Lyndon Dykes had a great chance that he should have scored from that would have brought it back to 2-1 and set up a grandstanding performance at the end. They got a goal that you can't legislate for. You can't legislate for a goal of that nature. The same way that David Beckham scored, and I remember Steve Staunton scored playing for me at Palace, a goal like that. You can't legislate for it. You can point your finger and say goalkeeper should have done this. But Scotland were a little bit unlucky. Now, all the mantras that we can trot out that say unlucky this, unlucky that. Look, that won't count for anything. The object of the aim was for you not to be grateful to be there. The object of the aim was to get on the front foot and succeed and qualify through it. And all these pundits that are saying we played well that will count for nothing when you're on your way home. Yeah. But I do think that Scotland will make a significant game of it on Friday. If they can get something out of that game on Friday... Because England are going to go into a battle with Scotland, and Scotland are going to impress themselves physically and psychologically on England. If they come out with a draw, then it's all to play for in the last game.
Just to contextualise what I was saying, Simon, the Czech Republic on paper, according to the FIFA rankings, are the weakest team in the group. If Scotland win the game yesterday, because the 4 best third-place teams qualify, they've got 1 foot in the knockout stages. As it is now, they've got it all to do against England, which is a high-pressure game anyway. I don't think they've got a chance of beating England. I think England have got superior players all over the pitch. Take the emotion out of the equation.
I agree with you, Alex. Of course,
so they're going to need now to go into that game with Croatia in a must-win situation. Had they have picked up a positive result yesterday in the first game, there wouldn't be so much pressure in that final game.
As you know, very little is won on paper, right? And the reality of what people do and don't do are defined by their performances. If you look at that Croatian team on Sunday, they were bloody useless. And England had a pretty easy game because the Croatians asked them no questions. We've learnt nothing really about England. Yep. We'll hear the headlines about how Raheem Sterling has justified his his selection and so on and so forth. But we'll learn more about England in playing against Scotland and perhaps against Czech Republic than we do against Croatia. So we'll agree to disagree, shall we?
Okay. Simon, you have no idea, incidentally, how many people have been asking for you up here. Everywhere we go, your name comes up. And it's all good, really, believe me.
Does that sicken you a little bit?
Well, we're surprised about it. I must say, where's your mate Jordan? Is he not with you? Where's Simon Jordan? I said, no, he's taken refuge down in London. He's got no intention of coming here. But, of course, all eyes on Wembley, and he's got his tongue sharpened for that one. Simon, good to speak to you, mate. A lot to get through in the next 3 hours. Big Chris is going to be with us, so too is Alex, and when we come back we shall look ahead to the Scottish fixtures which were announced this morning. A lot coming your way in the next 3 hours with us live from the Radisson Blu Hotel right here in I Belong to Glasgow.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning 10 till 1 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.